Hello everybody, hey, it's Ken Faulkner. Got another knife video for you, a little different one. I don't think I've ever done a versus video. And these are both the same brand, but I thought there's an interesting comparison. I don't know, it may not be, but it was to me, so hopefully you feel the same. It has to do with, when I show some nicer knives and I get comments about how it's too expensive. And then but people do like to see the videos. So I do get some good views on that. I know that I'm kind of the same way. I mean, there's definitely knives that I see on channels that are out of my price range for the most part, or completely, until further notice, until I win the lottery or something. Of course, you have to play to win, so I haven't figured that out yet, apparently. Anyway, getting down to the knives, Spyderco, great brand. Lots of people like Spyderco. Popular one with the videos. I had a video with a shaman that had like the most views I've ever had before, and so I know there's a lot of you guys out there that like Spyderco. I know I do. I'm definitely not the biggest collector of Spydercos, but I do have a decent number in my collection. I'm sure it's about a dozen or so, and I've gone through them before. But I kind of wanted to go between these two because you're getting a knife that's historically known for its budgetness, which would be the Tenacious. And yes, it is known for its budgetness, but this one is a little different, and I'll explain that. But that's kind of beside the point. I don't currently own the one that has the ACR MOV steel, but that's the one that you can get, and it's like 50-60 bucks, I think, consistently. This was my first Spyderco model that I bought. This one came later. This is actually the M4 version, but I liked the Tenacious so much, so very much in that ACR version, that when I had an opportunity to buy this on a secondary, I had to jump on it. The M4 version, I guess it's one of those sprint runs that they do. Man, Spyderco is just really doing some amazing stuff with that. And I think that's a big part of the appeal for a lot of people. Now, this one here was kind of like a lot of people, and I hear this was kind of like my first into the more expensive knives. This one was like about $185. But you can see, might as well break it open. You can see that they've both gotten an upgrade. And that kind of speaks to how I feel about the knives. They both originally, so you're going to have to use your imagination and kind of think of, because the clips are the same as they were. I haven't changed out the clips on these, but these used to both have the G10, the black. They were both with the black G10 and the satin blade. And so they had that flat G10 handle, which I actually had the knives for a long, long time. This one only happened after I bought, I don't have the date for it. I think, yeah, actually, this one was in 2024 that I upgraded to the M4 version. And then I gave away that ACR in one of my giveaways because I just think it's such a great knife. Anyway, this one I've had for quite some time. I don't have a date on it, but definitely early on, probably 3 years. And it wasn't until probably last year that I did upgrade to those titanium scales. I know these are Flytanium. I think these are Flytanium. I am not 100% on that. It tends to be my go-to for scales. I don't do a lot of scale swaps. I actually got one on order right now, and you'll find out about that later. But anyway, so kind of the background story of this is that I love these knives, both of them. The PM2 Paramilitary 2 is my favorite of the two, I'd have to say, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons is that it's USA made. So that is probably the most significant thing. So if you're looking at a $185 knife versus like a maybe $60 knife in the scaled down version, this one's made in China, And there's not a lot of Chinese-made Spydercos, but this one is made in China. It does have the liner lock. It definitely flicks out very well. It has good detent. It's not opening it. Spyderco tends to be on washers, and I believe that both of these are on washers. You know, my memory's not great, but I've taken them both apart, and I'm almost 100% sure that both of these are on washers, and it's pretty typical with Spyderco. But this one has the compression lock, and that was the exciting thing when I bought this one, was getting the Spyderco with the compression lock. And this is one of the things that you kind of like about that. It's got that drop. And one of the big benefits of the drop is that you don't have to have your fingers in the way when you're closing that compression lock. You know, you can have ones that drop, and then you have to be careful about where you put your finger up here, because if you leave it down too low, it's going to come down. You might get a cut, especially if the blade's heavy. This one's not heavy. I mean, not heavy at all. These knives are probably close. I think that this one's got more contour to the handle. It's not really about the handle, but that handle has a little more contour to it than this one does. And so the weight feels very much the same. So yeah, so USA versus China. And each individual person, you know, I did that preference video a while ago, and I'm kind of like all into that right now. I think I'm going to be breaking that down into smaller ones as we go along with the channel. Getting into more detail of individual preference areas of knives. But one of those big preferences, and it's a very passionate thing, is USA-made knives. Spyderco is one of those brands where you can get a mix. You can get maybe one of the most widespread as far as the different locations that you can get knives from. And so it's definitely, they kind of stand out in that way. Now, a lot of people don't like the clips. I'm not a big, for whatever reason, you know, when people talk about wire clips or, you know, the milled titanium clips, it doesn't really go real high on my preference list of clips. I've talked about it before. I like to be able to grab here to pull out of the pocket. Makes it a little bit easier. Not that a deep carry clip is that hard to get out of your pocket, but I do like that feature. So anyway, other than that, the size is not too great of a difference. Probably, if you go pivot to pivot, you're probably talking about a 1/4 inch. Certainly not more than a 1/2 inch. I can get out not really into doing like the major specs on it. These are knives that have been around for a long time, so it's not like it's a new knife. So the overall is like 3.5 here, whereas this one's like like 3.25. So about a 1/4 inch difference. The height of the blade, they're probably both about the same, but you get more of a drop more quickly with the Paramilitary 2. You get a lot more handle. I would say that's more significant because you're talking about 4.25 to 4.75, so that's a 1/2 inch difference. And I do like a good handle where you have, you know, you got all your fingers on there, but tenacious is not really a problem in that area either. I mean, with my size hand, it fits well. I mean, it's kind of close, and if you have a bigger hand than mine, then you may be running into issues of kind of going up on this little nub here. But yeah, so the big differences are going to be liner lock, compression lock, and USA made versus China. In my book, I think they cut relatively close to the same. They both have that nice thumb ramp, which I really like on a Spyderco, and a little spot. This has a little better spot for your finger to really lock in. But this one does as well. It's just your finger's going to be a little bit further back here, so you don't quite lock in. Maybe the ergos are a little bit better. I think in general, personally, I'd have to say the ergos are a little bit better. So we're seeing like several things that are just a little bit better. And of course, USA made can be a huge thing for people. Yeah, one thing about the compression lock is that, and sometimes I'll carry and try to operate knives with my left hand, but it is extremely hard, and I'm not very good at it, but extremely hard to do the lock left-handed with a compression lock. Maybe if you're a lefty, and I don't know if they have a left-handed version of these knives. I've never seen one, but maybe there is one. So I find it difficult to control the knife. Whereas here, you have these fingers gripping while you hit the compression. On this side, you have to use your thumb, and then you really have no. So you just whatever you're just barely holding onto that compression lock in order to open the knife. So if you're lefty, and if they don't have left-handed versions, and like I said, I don't know that haven't done a lot of research, but I don't think they have them. That could be a big consideration for you. And then of course the price. So anyway, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of look at the two knives. This one, the action on it certainly is not drop shut at all. So if that's a big thing for you, that's something you got to think about. I do like the action on the PM2. I must say that is something. It is much more fidgety. So yeah, there it is. Can't really think of really anything else that makes them set apart from each other. I think they're both great knives personally. And if you are in the budget range, even though some people would say 50 or 60, and certainly getting the M4 version, you're going to go up to about $150 for this knife. So then you're really close on the price. But that's what's going to be the big difference for you, price range. And there is a bit of just the whole lore of the PM2, because the Tenacious is not talked about in the same class as far as how much people really. In fact, the Unprofessional Dad, I mentioned that, is a guy that I've been watching lately, and he's had this challenge video where he's saying who's best, and the PM2 has been the best over like 3 or 4 videos. So it's clearly a just much loved knife. It clearly is. But I just wanted you to know that there is an option out there in the Tenacious. If paying this much money for an S45 VN knife is just too much, and you're willing to accept the HCR, the China, and the action of the liner lock, I think that's the big differences. So anyway, I hope you found it interesting. I hope maybe I shed some light. If you're a big Spyderco fan, you probably knew everything I was already saying, but there's always people out there that are looking for this information, and I just want to provide it. All right, guys. Everybody have a good day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.